Hello, 3, 2, fun. Welcome to another episode of A Podcast. Your host, Stephen Maxted, and Sadie Sebelius with Lavanda Cafe. Hopefully, I did that okay for us. I know we hadn't before here. We'll laugh about this later. A little bit of tech issue getting in here, but I'm glad that we got started. And thank you so much for making time. I know we recently bumped into each other at a networking event in Winnipeg, put on by Futurepreneur, and connected there. And I was connecting with a few companies. It was great to for you to make time in your busy schedule. I know you're juggling a couple of things, and I'm excited to chat more about what you're all up to now because I know you wear multiple hats and in some ways similar to me, you have a couple ventures on the go. But today we're going to talk about a little bit more about the cafe, but we'll see where it takes us. And so I'll pass it over to you, Sadie. Tell the listener a little bit about yourself, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was really great to meet you at that networking event, and I was really excited that you invited me on here right away. So, always down for a great podcast episode. So my name is Marcede Sebelius. I born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I have grown to love this city for all the opportunity that it has in business and just like the amazing community that Winnipeg has. And so I'm the founder of a couple businesses. So number one, Spreads by Sadie, which is not what we're talking about today, but it is my first business. It's really my baby in this industry. So I make almond butter and cashew butter in that business. It's food manufacturing, and I sell throughout the city and in a couple places outside Manitoba as well. But what we're talking about today is Lavanda Cafe, which is my brand new venture. So this is a new cafe located in downtown Winnipeg, and we opened up end of August. So this has been something I've been working on all year since January. It's been a dream, a goal of mine for even longer, I think like 5 years. I remember when I first started working on this cafe earlier this year. I went back into one of my old journals, and I've been into journaling for years and whatnot, but I found this old drawing of this cafe idea that I had, and it was from like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh yeah, that's when I started thinking about that, and now here I am actually doing it. So that's how long it's been sort of a dream and a goal of mine, and so incredibly happy that it's finally come to fruition this year. It's been a very challenging journey and venture, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm very happy to be where I am with it, and excited to see where it takes me.
That is super awesome. That's cool that you wrote down too, like that. I know there's some things I've written down over the years as well, and some things that are in the future that I want to check off. We'll call it kind of like that list, without treating it too much like a task, but more of just a goal to go down there. What was if you look back to like 5 years ago when you first wrote that down, what was your thought process back then? What did you have in mind?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I have this other business, Spreads by Sadie, and that's in food and nutrition is one of my major passions, and that's how that business started. And I kind of was looking to grow that business into a physical location and to sort of create like a cafe / eatery out of that outlet in my life. And so that's kind of where the idea started. Really just wanted like a space to sell my product and use it on the menu, and just to get more creative with it. And that was really the idea behind it. And I never really went for it because I was in university at the time, and so that was keeping me pretty busy, and then just had all these other things on the go. Something I actually didn't mention in my little intro there is I actually have another business called Sebelius Studio, and I do freelance marketing, which is, I'm not really doing that so much anymore. That's been something that has kind of kept me afloat over the past couple of years, and that's how I've been supporting myself up until Lavanda opened, which is really what took on that full-time role in my life when that all started. So I've been doing that for the last couple of years, and and sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
That's okay. We were talking about your other company where you're doing some like freelance work to get through here.
Yeah. So yeah, then sorry, oh my gosh, I totally lost my train of thought.
We'll work
This is
through
why
it.
I'm like, is this gonna be edited? Like I'm gonna
This is even better. This is so much better. So we got spreads, we have some freelance work that you're doing, and then you got this. So no wonder you got stuff going on up there and you there's a little track there. That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
where you're going with that either, but that's okay.
yeah.
What did you do with that business?
So with Sebelius Studio,
Yeah.
so that was marketing, and so I had
Cool.
just like a handful of clients there, and have just been doing that throughout the last couple of years, and then I just sort of felt like it wasn't really a part of me anymore, if that makes sense. So I'm really looking for something to that would help me move away from that, and then I kind of revisited the idea of opening up a cafe, and that's kind of when Lavanda came to life, and
Cool.
it really felt like all the pieces kind of just like fell into place at once, and I was like, okay, there's absolutely no way that I can say no to this. Actually, going back to my point, I think this is where I was kind of going when I totally just like my brain blanked there. So one of my marketing clients is a property management company, and so they had this commercial space available. And so as someone on the marketing team at this property management company, I was trying to help them get this space filled. And the space was built out to be a cafe. And that's what the building wanted in there. And so I was like really trying to rally, someone to get in this space and lease it and to build something there. And one day I was just like, I kind of brought this idea to my other marketing coworkers with this client that I had, and I was like, well, like I've had this idea for years, and just kind of like throwing it out there and seeing, just like dropping some breadcrumbs, and immediately they were like, yes, you should do it. That sounds like a great idea. You are the person for it. You have the experience in this industry. Yes, do it. So basically just like having that support and hearing those words, I was like, okay, let's do it. And I've always been sort of someone who kind of, and this is a good thing and a bad thing, I think. I kind of just like jump into things immediately without, I do it with intention, and I think I think it through, but I do take bigger risks, and I think that's kind of what I did when all of that was happening, and I just kind of jumped into it, and I felt really supported in it, and the space that I was looking at with this property management company, it's just like it was just like too perfect to say no to. So so that's kind of how Lavanda started earlier this year, and just how it kind of came, like having that initial idea of like making those doodles in my journal 5 years ago, how that kind of came full circle back to the beginning of 2023, and how I got to where I am today. So yeah.
That is awesome. No, it definitely resonates with me about like just kind of jumping in. Still have like a bit of a plan around that, but to run the experience versus kind of see other things as obstacles. I think is basically what I kind of heard you summarize there, is you're seeing it as like an opportunity all the way through, instead of I think a lot of folks get stuck in the before even doing anything in business stage, in limbo before, and then they don't pursue things. So that's awesome to hear that you're just diving in like that into a few ventures. And so what's the cafe all about for you? I mean, I can see online and see images and stuff from there with you guys there, but what does it mean to you and to the culture and the clients that are coming through the door?
Yeah, so when I started thinking of this idea, I really wanted to create a space that was more so about the environment and the atmosphere, and just like creating a really cozy, sort of like grounding space where customers can come and have a meeting and meet with their friends, just have like a moment to themselves and just like feel comfortable in there, and Yeah, again, just like cozy. And so that was really what I wanted to create the space like. And I think we've done a really good job of that. I think when people describe Lavanda, that's how they describe it. And that makes me super happy to hear, because that was definitely my intention behind it. And then also just wanted to create a space that provided a really delicious and nourishing menu as well, because as I've mentioned, my background is in food and nutrition. And so, yeah, just taking that education, that knowledge, I wanted to, use my creativity and build a menu that offers, healthy items, but also items that are like a little bit more indulgent, because I also, as much as I love food and the nutrition aspect of it, and, making those healthier choices, I also believe in indulging every once in a while, like feeding your body what it is craving and not having those restrictions. And that, I feel like that's a whole other conversation that I could get
I don't know for
into.
sure.
Yeah. So,
Well, you're passionate about it. You're in the food industry in a couple avenues. I think that's awesome to hear about because,
yeah.
um, yeah, what's the point
Yeah.
of, do you want to feel that we had cake last night? I usually don't even eat cake. And a good example of kind of letting that, having a little cake once in a while isn't probably going to kill you. If you eat it all the time, it might actually hurt you.
Yeah.
So I think being, safe on that conversation, being okay to say it. I think I know where you're going with that.
Hmm.
Definitely probably could be a whole in-depth convo about that. But I mean, like images I see here online, what are you guys known for on the menu side of things? Like, I mean, there's a list of stuff on here, but what's really popular, or what
Yeah.
do you guys
So
see
I
in being
think,
popular?
yeah, so our whole food menu is actually plant-based. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's just another passion of mine, something, it's a value of mine, something that I really believe in. And so I think that actually draws in a lot of people when they find out that all of our food is plant-based. So people
Oh,
who, opt for that type of diet, or maybe have certain restrictions that they need to follow. So as far as like specific items, I would say, well, we'll get into the food, but I would say number one, our coffee is just fantastic, which, as it should be, it's a cafe. And yeah, I was really intentional with the roaster that we went with to supply our beans. There's so many fantastic roasters here in Winnipeg and Manitoba, but yeah, I ended up having a really great relationship with Forbidden Flavors, which is a roaster in Brandon, Manitoba.
Brandon. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I've been
and
there.
yeah, they have the cutest cafe in Brandon, and
Yep.
just, yeah, the people behind the brand are fantastic humans. And yeah, I recommend their coffee to everyone. It's so tasty, and I'm like
Cool.
also such a coffee snob too. So I was really really picky about that. And so yeah, we get a lot of compliments on our coffee, and the quality of it and the taste and everything. So yeah, that would definitely be number one. If we're talking about food, we have a lovely gourmet toast menu, which is
Favorite, yeah.
not, yeah, it's not really something that you see very often. There are a couple other really great cafes and restaurants in Winnipeg that offer similar things. But yeah, I think that's something that kind of differentiates us. Is, yeah, our gourmet toast menu. And yeah, that's something that I put together with the help of a friend of mine who I went to school with, who is now a registered dietitian. So between the two of us, we kind of tag team that, and she also created a lot of the other items on the menu too. So yeah, I would say the toast is really popular if you're coming for lunch or just like a quick breakfast. And then we also bake a lot of things in house too. And
Awesome.
yeah, again, all plant-based items.
Very awesome. Something I thought that was interesting I saw on the menu here is that you have the add in on, I think it's dessert in here. Yeah. Blueberry cheesecake with lion's mane. And I've seen this on a couple of things, the introduction, and for those listening that maybe, or I'll start it, you might finish it because it sounds like you probably read up more on the stuff than I do. But I have used lion's mane before I'm putting in my coffee on its own, and it's a mushroom-based um, item. And we got talking on another podcast with I'm not sure if you know Beauty Bark, but it was a chocolate company we'd had on, and they use functional mushrooms in their stuff. Anyways, pass it over to you. But like, yeah, I think that's super cool. You guys have that in there. I've been waiting for someone to actually like incorporate that into more stuff. But how'd you come to add that in? How'd that come to be?
Yeah, that's so funny that you mentioned Beauty Bar because Shelby is actually one of our regular customers.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Shout out to Shelby.
yeah. So
That's too funny.
I see her actually pretty often, and yeah. So thank you, Shelby, for coming in. And yeah, so mushrooms, yeah, functional mushrooms are something that I've been experimenting with for a couple years now. I use them in some of my nut butter flavors too for Spreads by Sadie. And so yeah, I just think there is so much potential there, and still a lot of research to be done, I think, on functional mushrooms, but we know that they're good for you. Like, we know that, you know, the antioxidant content, the anti-inflammatory properties, how they're amazing for your immune system. And yeah, I could go on and on there. But yeah, I just wanted to, I think it's really fun for me to kind of, you know, sneak those things into more like
Totally.
familiar items for people.
Yeah.
As a way to introduce them to these items, because these, you know, functional ingredients or foods, because I think, yeah, a lot of people still don't know about them. They don't know what they are, what they do. And I just think it's like so fun to do that and be able to educate them as much as I can on whatever that ingredient is. And at this point, I'm really used to doing that because with Spreads by Sadie, I do use a lot of really unique, like superfood functional nutrient dense ingredients that people don't know about. So I do spend a lot of my time educating people on things like that. So yeah, and I also just think for the people who do know or who are familiar with functional mushrooms or those functional ingredients, it's just like, it's a fun way to market those items. And not saying we're just like putting it in there just to market it, but like, you do still get the benefits from that item when we add it into these
Totally.
menu items. But yeah, I just think it's fun to put it out there and you know, educate the people that want to know more, and to offer it to the people who are familiar with it and want to have it in their diet. So yeah,
I think that's so cool. I've been like waiting for someone, like I said that I think already in here, but it's neat to see you doing that, because I thought for a while, I'm like, instead of, this could be a whole hot topic on the sugar thing, but like, I don't put that in my coffee. You should put honey. Maybe on the rare occasion I will like, but usually it's like black, or it's a latte with other stuff. But I was like curious. I'm like, why don't other places have that as like a thing that you add in? I don't know if you put that in your drinks or whatever. I see it in like the baked goods and desserts section here, but I've been wondering that for a while, if someone's going to start to you know, do that and offer that in like a cafe setting, because that's how I had consumed it before, was adding it in my coffee in that degree. But it's super cool you're opening the door for people. It's one of the bigger things that I'm seeing on a menu, and then, you know, I'll see it somewhere else and they'll come back and they'll be asking for it. It's no longer like what is this? It's like a want or a need at that point, when people do get exposed to it. So
yeah, and
actually,
cool. I just, to touch on the functional mushroom kind of aspect there, I just started adding lion's mane into my coffee every morning as well. And
cool.
I've done that in the past where I've taken like supplements every day, and it's been really helpful. But yeah, I can really notice the difference after taking it every day now. Just like, I always say this, like, I feel kind of silly saying this, when I start taking lion's mane, I can just like start to tell, I can feel my brain like working faster, if that makes sense. And just like, totally. That's how I experience those benefits from lion's mane. Yeah, so I think it's so interesting just to like see how those functional mushrooms affect you. And yeah, again, just like so fun to introduce them to people and add them into things like that. And yeah, we have so many ideas for expanding our menu and for secret menu items, which if you're looking at our website, you might see on the menu section there. I don't know if there's anything there right now. There might be a couple things, but yeah, we are definitely looking to expand our menu and to use more of those ingredients on it.
That's really cool. Are there any other, I don't know if I saw them on here, do I? Caramel brownies with
lucuma.
Is that a mushroom?
No, so lucuma is a type of fruit, and it comes from South America.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's known as a superfood, and yeah, that's just another thing that I thought was fun to add into something like a brownie. It has
For
a bit
sure.
of a like, I always say like a subtle caramel slash vanilla flavor to it. So you don't really taste it in our brownies. We add it into one of our smoothies as well, and you can kind of taste it in there. But yeah, definitely added for the benefits that it offers. Really high in lots of vitamins and minerals, vitamin A, vitamin C, and it's an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. And so yeah, we add it into those things for those reasons. And yeah, it's yeah, it has a really unique flavor, and I love using that
Cool.
ingredient specifically.
No, that's awesome. It was just the way it was written in here. I'm like, is that a mushroom too? Because does not like look familiar to me. And I was like, oh, maybe that's another one. Is there any other things on the menu that do have lion's mane or other functional mushrooms in them?
Uh, I don't think so right
Yeah,
now. We
that's
are
okay.
working on a lion's mane hot chocolate, actually.
Cool.
So
Sick.
yeah, we do make our own hot chocolate in-house. So yeah, we're
Awesome.
working on a recipe to like yeah make that work with the flavors because yeah, I was finding I've added it into hot chocolate before and just like yeah trying to figure out the right amount and flavoring and all that is just kind of like a bit of a process, but yeah, that's something that we're working on. So perhaps in the next couple months, we'll have that on the menu, something that we offer. And then I'm also experimenting a little bit with chaga too in some drinks. So
Cool.
see where that takes us.
Very awesome. I'm super excited to see where that goes. I gotta come try one when that
Yeah.
gets happening for you guys. What's Oh, this is just like so neat to talk about this and the fact that Shelby got a shout out in here. Now we're having hybrid combos between other podcast episodes. That is too fun. When you're looking out, I guess in the future, and like you made this menu as someone who has like some experience in there, but obviously you have a passion for, as you kind of illustrated here in the food industry. What really look back like kicked that off for you? To have that passion in healthy food and getting into the space. Was there anything that started that, or has it just always been a
Um,
lifestyle?
that's a good question. I haven't really thought about that in a really long time. I guess, oh, well, to get a little bit personal, I've had, some issues with, eating disorders and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So that could also be a whole other conversation. But yeah, so that I guess that is sort of something that ties into my passion for food and nutrition. And yeah,
Mm,
just going back to touching on the, non-restrictive sort of mindset that I like to have when
yeah.
I take an approach to food and eating food and creating menu items. So that is definitely something. And then also, I guess another big thing that would have led me into that or down that career path or education path is I played a lot of sports growing up as well. So just like making sure that I was fueling my body properly and getting the correct nutrients just so that I could perform as I needed to as an athlete throughout high school. And yeah, I guess throughout high school is when I really peaked as an athlete. Um,
I feel like there's a
yeah,
lot of memes where you're not supposed to say you peaked in high school, but in the sports world, that is quite a thing, right? So
yeah.
I tease. Yeah.
I guess I've had some different peaks, but as an athlete, I think high school was the time. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, and I remember that's like really when I started getting into more about like learning about nutrition and food, and that's when I kind of decided that I wanted to take that route in university as I was thinking about applying to university. So yeah, I guess I would say that's kind of where it started, and then yeah, just like the whole other
Yeah.
personal side of it is the eating disorder thing, which I think probably a lot of people could relate to. But that
Yeah.
is definitely something that tied into diving deeper into yeah, food and nutrition. So
For sure.
yeah,
Well, it's usually just not one thing, right? There's many compliments
Mhm.
along the journey. Although you might have like a direction to want to do one thing. Usually there's like other things that kind of
yeah,
get that
yeah,
tossed on the wagon
yeah,
um,
exactly.
for doing things. So it's really awesome. Well, what about with setting up this business? I'm sure there's been some roller coaster days. What's been like the biggest peak and the biggest valley for you getting started on this?
Yeah, it's been quite a roller coaster ride. I don't even know if I could put my finger on one thing. But yeah, it's just been like such a learning curve. Like just like leasing a commercial space itself, like dealing with all the legal stuff and the huge financial responsibilities that you take on and just all the liability that comes with it.
Yep.
That was a lot for me. And something that I'm really grateful that I went through and learned about, because now I can take all of that with me moving forward. And if I want to do it again, then I kind of like have a better idea of how to approach things. How to negotiate is a big one. That is definitely, that was definitely a huge learning curve for me. The negotiation part of it. And then as far as, actually like owning and operating the cafe, I think managing a team has been quite a challenge for me in a lot of good ways too. Again, just like lots of learning and figuring things out. And I've managed people in the past, but I've really only managed like one person at a time. And then so going from that to managing this whole team of baristas, it was quite a shift. And just like a lot of things that had to be ironed out there. And I'm really grateful for my team. I think they're fantastic, and the baristas that I hired I think I really lucked out there. But yeah, definitely some things that I had to figure out along the way. And then, I guess another big challenge that I've been facing recently, in this industry specifically, is managing inventory and food waste. I think that is something that I always thought I was like really great at that. But coming into this space and, having to manage that, it's been a bit of a challenge, but finally getting the hang of it. And so I think those things have been probably the biggest challenges. I know that those are kind of like general answers, but
no, it's good. That's great.
Honestly. Yeah.
I think one of the things you said there too. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say, I feel like every day I wake up and I come to the cafe and I'm just like immediately in problem solving mode. Like there's always things that you need to just like think about and fix like immediately. And your employees are always asking you questions, and like customers are complaining. Not all the time. We get a lot of compliments too, but like, just in this industry, people, you do get those complaints. And there's a lot of like curveballs that you get thrown every single day. And I just, I think every single day you come in and you're just in problem solving mode. And that's something that I have had to also learn through the past couple of months. So, yeah.
I think that's great. One thing I was going to say before is like, it's a neat thing that you say about like learning how that signing a lease, negotiating works. So if you were to ever do it again, you're already thinking like, next time, or, wherever your journey takes you, you'd be quicker to understand and, navigate those waters again. And I think that's one of the coolest things to learn as an entrepreneur is once you go through something once, even though it was totally foreign to you, it's a tool in your tool belt for next time. And it's a huge asset that, I'm sure you experience that with other things that are not top of mind yet, like managing people or problem solving. That, other stuff about food waste down the road will become second nature, not a big deal. So that's cool. Especially writing the book today versus like the next 5 years, it'll look a lot different as well if you keep documenting that. Do you journal lots? Like, is that something that you do as well regularly still?
Not as much as I would like to. It was kind of like a phase in my life, and I'll do it like every so often. And if I'm like really trying to manifest something, then I'll
write it down.
Writing about it every day. Not to get like too woo-woo here, but it is something that I've found has been really helpful for a lot of different things. But definitely I don't do it as much as I would like to anymore.
No, that's great. I don't spend tons of time doing it, but I know when I have in the past, that's kind of where I'm working off a list of things still that I wrote down a number of years ago. It's kind of projects when the opportunities come up, I want to definitely jump on them, kind of thing. I think it's important if people can make the time every day good on them. I definitely do not do that. It's not a everyday task. It's more of the squiggle in the book. As it is going on now, more of a note thing for things to remember later on. Um, I always find that's great too for the memory. Writing things down is more how I remember them. Like you said, if you write them down, it probably becomes more of a set in stone situation. So
Yeah, totally.
very good. Anything up and coming for you? I know that we talked about this just slightly before, but for the sake of um, yeah, maybe other menu things that you're looking at or kind of coming into because if you started, would you say you started in August this year?
Yeah, end of
Yeah,
August. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, a couple different like menu expansions that we're thinking about, and
yeah,
something that is hopefully coming up within the next couple months is our space is getting licensed, and so that will then extend our hours. And this is something I've wanted to do since the beginning. It's just the whole licensing process, and then along with everything else, it's just been it's something that's taking a little bit longer. But yeah, that will hopefully happen within the next couple months. And then, yeah, like I said, that will extend our hours and hopefully going to add a new, smaller, like evening menu. Again, if you're looking at our website, you'll probably see there's a section for that. But yeah, not quite there yet. And then that will also hopefully open up a bit more opportunity on our patio space. So at Lavanda, we have this beautiful, massive patio out in front of our space. Our space inside is actually quite small, but yeah, if you go outside, we have about, I think it's like double the space outside where you can, we have a nice pergola built, and yeah, it's just like a cute patio space. And I think, yeah, having that license and extending our hours and extending our menu a little bit will kind of bring some more opportunity to that space. And leading into spring and summer, I think that's just going to be fantastic, especially for a space downtown in Winnipeg where there's so much work being done right now to revitalize this area, and that just like makes me so excited. I can't wait to see what the city has in store for downtown, and just like some of the things that I've been hearing about what the plans are, and just seeing new businesses pop up down here. It's something that makes me really excited and hopeful for the city, and I just can't wait to see how it all goes over the next couple of years.
Very awesome. How many people can fit in the space, by the way, totally, like with the patio and stuff? What does that mean for you guys for capacity?
Oh yeah, like our capacity inside is fairly small. I would say like comfortably maybe 14 to 16 people could sit inside. So yeah, we do have some nice window seating and some small tables and a nice little like lounge area. But yeah, that being said, like on our patio, ooh, I can't give a number for seats right now because we are doing like some expansion there for this upcoming patio season. But if I had to ballpark it, I would say like at least 20 seats out there. Definitely more than 20. And yeah, we're hopefully going to have like a nice lounge area out there as well, and add just some more things to make it a bit of a cozy space and to sit down and enjoy a drink, enjoy a coffee, and just chill out.
That's awesome. No, that's really great to hear. And just the way you talk so passionately about the expansion, I've heard that there are lots of really great things going on downtown with some other folks we've had on the podcast too that are probably part of the similar energy of bringing new things to downtown there. So that's great to hear you talk about it like that. Yeah, that's exciting. That'll be really nice for summer, and especially where you guys are located. Like you said, you're near some businesses. It's definitely becoming more lively. Folks are walking down there. Licensing, great. What's that going to mean for products for you guys? Is that I can make some summary? I'll just ask you what kind of stuff you guys going to carry on that side. So
for like when we get our license, you mean?
Yeah.
So we'll add just a small alcohol menu. We're thinking of partnering with a local brewery, which I won't mention quite yet, just because we gotta solidify that. But yeah, definitely one of our major values is sourcing from local companies. So yeah, definitely looking to partner with a local brewery, and we'll do, you know, some of our own cocktails too. And then also definitely want to have some non-alcoholic options, which obviously we already have just being a cafe, but some more, you know, like mocktail type drinks as well, and maybe some non-alcoholic wines. That's also something that is a value of mine, and just something that I know that is becoming more popular, where people are trying to drink less, or they just want a different option. So yeah, that's definitely something that we'll have available for those who are choosing not to drink for whatever reason that might be.
Totally. I think that's awesome. I do feel like that is becoming more of a trend. That's 100% a gut feel. There were no numbers I've looked at. This is talking to people though that are friends of mine. I took a little break this last summer from drinking just to kind of do a refresh on fitness and kind of follow a little bit of a program there and stuff. And I do feel like, yeah, that is great that you guys are offering. It's great that you guys are getting licensed to have the option to have, but also to not have, and kind of feel included in the space, and welcome to join those other friends, and whatever the situation is, to not participate in the alcohol side of things. So very cool, very neat that you're doing all this stuff. I'm super looking forward to seeing what that looks like in summer for you guys, personally here. And Sadie, what's the best way for folks to find you? Obviously, we have the website pull up over here, and I follow you guys on social media. But do you want to list all the places where folks could follow you? Just make sure I don't miss anything. I know I have the list here of kind of on the website, but do you want to let the listener know where they can get you at?
Yeah, totally. So Instagram is where we're most active. So that's Lavanda WPG. That is our Instagram handle. And next to that, I would say Facebook. So same thing there, Lavanda WPG. And then we're also on TikTok and LinkedIn. So yeah, I would say probably a little bit less active on TikTok and LinkedIn, but you can definitely find us there. I try and get out as much content as I can on all those platforms. So yeah, wherever you want to follow us, please do. And we'll keep you updated on our menu and what's going on here. And we'll let you know when we get that liquor license, so you can come have a drink on our patio.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Sadie, for making time in the busy schedule here. Very exciting to see what you're doing, and you were just so much good energy in the business space locally here. So we're lucky to have you in Winnipeg, starting up businesses and stuff. So that's great. And yeah, thank you so much again for hopping on.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much, Sadie. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.